Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We are still on probability, but this is more focused on Venn diagrams. Now this is meant to be worksheet 5, but I'm going to be splitting this into two separate videos, which is then going to make it worksheets 5 and 6, because there are 8 questions in here and I really don't want the video to be too long, so we'll be looking at question 1 to 4. But right, let's get right into it. But please like, share and subscribe, help my channel to grow. I would really appreciate that. Okay, first question. For the following set notations, circle the correct description. So anytime you see something that looks like this, right, that little N shape that you can see in the middle, okay, basically what that symbol is saying is intersection. Okay, so I'm just going to scribble that here. So this symbol, the N shape, is called intersection. Intersection. So it's just basically saying that what you can find in both A and in B, or what belongs into A and into B. Okay, so both A and B. Now, sometimes the way you can refer to that sentence is A intersection B. So that's how you say it. A intersection B. So what is connecting A and B, or what is common to both A and B? So if we come here, belonging to both A and B, we have another option, belonging to A but not B. And then our third option, belonging to A or B or both. Then not belonging to A or B. So it is belonging to both A and B. Okay, so what you can find in A and also find in B. So I'm going to circle that as our answer, intersection. Now before we carry on, basically let's say for example I give you a set of values for A, right? So I say a set for A. So let's say my set for A are even numbers, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then my set of values for B, okay, are prime numbers, so 2, 3, 5, 7. Okay. Now, if I then ask you, what is A intersection B? So what you can find in A and also find in B. So just for this set as an example, by the way, so A intersection B here will be 2, because you can find it in A and in B, so belonging to both A and B, so A intersection B. Now moving on quickly to question 1B. When you see this sign, that's the U shape in the middle, that then is called union. Okay, so I'm going to write it here. You see that U shape is called union. The N shape is called intersection. So how you would read this out will be not. Now there's this little sign there that looks like an apostrophe. That is called not. Okay, so not A union B. So when you have A and you have that little thing there, it's called not A. So what is not included in A? Alright, so to read that, then I'll say not A union B. Okay, so what you will not find in A, or what is not a member of A or member of B or both. So that's the meaning of union. Okay, so let's see, not belonging to A. We need to look for options that say not a member of A. So here we've got not a member of A, but a member of B. Okay, because there's a union, right? So let's check this one. It says not belonging to B, but belonging to A. Not belonging to A or B. No. So this one, belonging to B, because we don't have the not sign there. So belonging to B or not belonging to A. Okay. So this is the best option that we've got, because our A has a not sign next to it, so not belonging to A. An example of A union B. So if I was going to have A union B, right, this is what A union B would look like. Let me put it here. So this is just as an example. A union B. So my answers will include everything that is in A. So first we can start with what is common to A and B, right? So A union B. So 2 is common to both of them. So because this means A or B or both. So then you put everything that you can find in B, 2, 3, 5, 7, and then put everything that you can find in A, 4, 6, 8, 10. So these here, based on this example that I've got down here, right? A union B would be that. Okay, so but hopefully this makes sense. If it doesn't, by the time we get to question 4, I'm hoping that you'll understand a lot better. Otherwise, please go to my YouTube channel. I have got loads and loads of questions that you can go through with me in my videos, and yeah, I'm certain you will understand better. Okay, moving on to question 1C. If A is even numbers more than 0 and B equals prime numbers, what would A intersection B be? Alright, so what will that be? So first, let's look at A are even numbers that are greater than 0, right? So let's look at all even numbers. Of course, we can't write everything, okay? So let's say we can take the first 10 even numbers that we have, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8, because they said it has to be greater than 0. Even numbers more than 0, 8, 10. So in fact, I think we're just going to take this first 5. Now, it then said that B are prime numbers, right? So we know that 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. We're going to stop there. So what would A intersection? So remember, I said intersection is just what you can find in A and also find in B. A intersection B. So the only thing that is intersecting A and B here will be 2. Okay, so A intersection B will be equal to 2, because we have 2 in A and we have 2 in B. And that's the only thing they have in common. So based on that, our answer will be this one here. I'm just going to circle it. So that is A intersection B. Right, moving swiftly on to question 2. So consider the following Venn diagram. Okay, so with this, let me just make sure that we can see all the numbers on there. So this number is meant to be 34. I'm just going to make that a bit clearer. That one is meant to be 34. Let me see, what other number is not clear? Okay, that number there is meant to be 9. Just going to make it clearer. That one should be 16. I would like to know that we can see that, but yeah. And then this one is 1. Okay, so I think everything else is clear. And here is indicating A. Okay, so consider the following diagram. We're in question 2 now, by the way. So consider the following diagram. Okay. Alright, so in this Venn diagram, we've got A, we've got B. Which values are described by A prime or not A? So you can call it A prime or you can call it not A. Okay, so the values that show that what you can't find in A. Right, so everything else except what's in A. So 16 is in A, 36, 4. So all of these are in A. So the best way to do this is I'm just gonna cover up my A circle. Okay, so I don't want to see A. So the whole of that circle is A. I'm gonna cover that up, right? So like that, and this is your focus. Okay, so I've cut off the whole of A. That's it. When you take all of that off, this is what you can see. So you've got 1, 9, 25, and 49. So that one was meant to be 49. Okay, so which values are described by A prime or that are not in A? Okay, so you ignore the whole A circle, and what you can see is not in A. So I want to write that in in the numerical order. So just bear with me. Okay, so 1, 9, 25, and 49. You don't necessarily have to write it in the numerical order. That's just me being specific about it. But as long as you have all the numbers written down, you should be fine in an exam. Well, except if they requested for it in numerical order, then that's a different case. Now, moving on to 2b, which values are described by A intersection B? So remember we said the N shape is intersection. So A intersection B. So basically, what you can find in A and also find in B. Okay, so this is part of the circle for A, and that's the one that is connecting to part of the circle of B. So everything you can find inside that part, because that's where the circles are overlapping, that's where they are intersecting. So whatever you can find in there, that's your A intersection B. So our answer to that, we can find 4, we can find 16, and we can find 36 in that overlap. Okay, moving on to 2C. Which values are described by A union B? So remember, the U-shaped is union. So basically what they're saying is what you can find in A or in B or in both. So we're practically writing everything, right? Now, in alphabetical order, I keep saying alphabetical, I mean numerical order, bear with me. So in fact, you can start by wanting to list what it's connecting them. So we can go 4, 36, and 16, right? You can find in both A and B. Then go ahead to list everything else here in the A side. So we've got 2, 6, 18, 34, 40, 30, and then list everything else on this side. Okay, so 1, 9, 25, 49. So now that is what they mean by A union B. So basically everything. So everything you can find in A or in B or in both. And that will be our answer for 2C. Right. We are going to move on to question 3. Okay, so again, with question 3, I've got a few things that are not quite clear. They didn't come out properly from my printer, so I'm just going to write them properly. So down here, the number I should be having there is 7/20. Bear with me whilst I write that down. So that should be 7/20. And this one here is 1/3. So 1/3. Okay, I'm gonna come down here as well. Just write a few things, make them clear before I treat the question. So this one is P, the B intersection T, and this one is B prime or not B, and this one is T union B, and this one is B union T. And this one is T prime. Okay, so I think we can get started now on the question. So the question says, students are asked about their subject taken in year 10. The options in this case were biology and textiles. So those were the options. Originally, the probability that a student took biology was 7/20. A new student joins the group and now the probability is 1/3. In both cases, 3 students took neither of the 2 subjects. So that part there, there are 3 students that did not take biology or textile. They took none. Now fill in the Venn diagram with all the information you know. So this is a fantastic word problem. I like word problems like this. So far, they didn't tell us exactly how many students we have. So let's see what we have here. So originally, the probability that a student took biology was 7/20. So we're going to go with that, right? So originally, we have 7, the students who took biology were 7/20. Now, the student who did not take any, so did not, I'm just going to write N for none, right? Didn't take biology, didn't take textiles. So in both cases. Now, remember we've got originally, that's the initial case, and then case 2 was when we now had a new student. So at the moment, I'm focusing on originally. So at the start, before the new student ever came in, we had 7 students out of 20. Okay, so if 7 people out of 20 people took biology, and they told us that in both cases, so that means that even in this case, 3 students took neither of the 2 subjects. So 3 students out of 20 did not take biology or textile. So now we've accounted for 7 students, we've accounted for 3 students, right? So obviously the ones that are left are the ones who took textiles, right? So 7 plus 3, we've got 10 students in total that we can account for, so the rest are 10. So 10 out of 20 took textiles, right? Now, everything I've written here is based on just this first section. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick recap. Originally, right, the probability that a student took biology was 7/20, so 7/20. If you're struggling with probability, kindly go back to my videos in my YouTube. If you're watching this on TikTok, go to my videos on YouTube, and you might be able to find something on TikTok as well that would help you with the probability aspect of things. But moving on quickly, 7 out of 20 people, right, took biology. And down here, they've told us that 3 students took neither of the 2 subjects. Okay, so 3 students took neither. Then the rest obviously took textiles. So 10 out of 20. So just to make sure your number is right, 7 plus 3 plus 10 should be giving you 20. So 20 people taking that. Okay. But now they want us to draw a Venn diagram, okay? But before we do that, they gave us this information too here, where it says a new student. A means 1, right? So 1 student joined the group. Now, if a student has joined the group, that means our total will be what? 21. So total number of people will now be 21, okay? So, and then now the probability is 1/3. So if I come here, right? So this is case 1 and this is case 2. So case 2 is when we now have 1 extra person now joining the group, making them 21, right? And we want it to be 1/3, isn't it? So that means that we still have 7 people, because if I were to simplify that, that will give me 1/3. Okay, so this is me building it back up, right? So probability after 1 student joins is 7 out of 21. Now if we work with that in both cases, so this still hasn't changed, right? So out of 21, so because it said in both cases, that did not change. In both cases, 3 students took neither of the 2 subjects. So in fact that should be 3 out of 21, because we now have 21 students. Okay, now down here we know we now have 21 students, so we need to make that up to be 21. So 7 at 3 is 10 plus 11 to give us 21. Okay, so based on the information that we have, we can draw our Venn diagram. So when it's not in this circle or this circle, it will be within your rectangle. So 3 out of 21 did not do biology or textile. But then if we rearrange the fraction we were given, 1/3, so 7 out of 21 took biology. And then we've got 11, and that one there, 7. Okay, and that becomes our answer for that. Now moving on to 3b, which of the following probabilities would help you fill in the rest of the Venn diagram? Circle all that apply. So okay, we have actually filled in the B part, right? But we might as well just go ahead and look at it. The probability that the probability of B, so that students took biology, will not necessarily help us fill it in, because we need to be able to know this center here, right? So what would actually help is knowing the intersection. So what is inside here, right? So what's intersecting? So probability of B intersecting, so biology intersection textile, right? That would help us to find this middle here. Then another thing that could help us is, we know, right, those who took biology, we know those who took textile, but we don't know those who took only biology. So we need to know those who took only biology or those who took only textile, okay? And the way that that would help us is if we know probability of those that did not take textile but must have taken biology. So that would help us as well. Okay. Right, moving on to question 4, which should be our last question here. Okay, so So question 4a says, on the Venn diagram below, shade the region represented by B prime. So we want to shade the region that is not including our B. Okay, so we want to leave the B but shade everything else. Spare me 1 second whilst I get one of my fancy colored pen. Okay, so the region that is, so remember we said B prime, or that little sign there means not. Okay, so anything that is not included in B, so not B, that's what that means. Okay, so to shade that, I'm going to leave my B and shade everything else. Everything else, I'm going to do that by just using lines. Okay, so I just had to pause my video for a little bit to complete the line because I just guessed that it's boring to watch me just drawing lines. Right, so it says, on the Venn diagram below, shade the region represented by B prime, which is shade every other part that is not B. So B is this massive circle here, right? So you shade everything else. So if you were dealing with numbers, you deal with numbers that are outside this part when they talk about B prime. Now, 4b says, on the Venn diagram, shade to represent A intersection B prime. Okay, so we want to represent the part that intersects A and not B. Okay, so basically it's going to be just A and the part that is definitely not B. So again, we're going to ignore all the other parts in the rectangle, ignore the big circle for B, so our main focus is just A. So it says not B, just A. All right, that's basically what that means. So A intersection B prime. Right, so I'm going to do that really quickly. I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes whilst I quickly enjoy the drawing of my lines. Okay, so this is what it would look like. Just before I go on to solve 4C, right, the difference between 4A and 4B is this. When they asked the question in 4A, they said to shade the region that is represented by B prime. So shade the region that is not B. They were less specific, right? You shade everything else as long as it is not B. But in here, they were a bit more specific in the question. So they wanted to shade the part that is not B. However, it has to only include A, right? So you're not including the whole shading, like the whole area in the rectangle. No. Your focus is A as long as it does not include B. So this is a bit more specific than that. All right, there they just said as long as it's not B, shade away. So it's not B, shade everything else. Or here, as long as it is not B, but it's intersecting with A, that's the only part you shade. So this is more specific than that. So that's just, I just felt the need to point that out. So you probably don't, you probably would rather not want to know that, but for anyone who cares, yeah. Okay, so C then says, shade the Venn diagram to represent A union B prime. Okay, so the whole of A and B, right? So A union B just means A and B, but prime this time means that you shade the part that does not include the whole of A and B. Okay, so A union B is everything here, but the prime of it is everything outside this circle but within the rectangle. Okay, so again I'm going to pause and I'm just going to go ahead and enjoy drawing my lines, and I'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and we're going to stop here. If you watch to the end of the video, please suggest a topic at the bottom in the comment section and I'll definitely treat that topic. See you in the next video. Bye.